go-to question. So I see very recently in our current time, not in the future. We'll see if you hold to it. If you're on everything, it broke. But I see you cut yourself off from all of the socials except one. How's that going for you?
I haven't cut myself out entirely yet, so I left Twitter, I left Instagram, but everybody left Twitter, so that's not a big deal.
You're just joining the herd at that point. Yeah, I'm still there, but we'll see how long. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, it took me a while. I think what convinced me was seeing people that actually had the guts, people with a lot more following than I had left, and I was like, okay, at this point, what am I even doing here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I had like 7 times more people following me on Blue Sky than Twitter. At that point, I had like 200 or 300 people on Twitter. I never really used it. So it's like, what am I doing here? Yeah, Instagram, same. I didn't really use it that much. So those were easy. Facebook, it's tough because my family is there. So it's like, it's what I used to talk with family and friends. Um, and then you have, the problem with WhatsApp, which also belongs to Meta. And, it's incredibly useful. So I'm still on those, and I'm thinking that I might kind of just leave Facebook and stay on WhatsApp because it's free anyway. I'm not giving money to Zuckerberg, so maybe. And I'm thinking about leaving Amazon as well because I don't know. I'm just in the. I'm not going to give money to Nazis or people who are not condemning Nazis' actions. I don't know. That makes sense.
I mean, that's it shouldn't be something that's like controversial to say. you know?
I don't know. I think I'm trying to vote with my wallet, if that makes sense.
Yes. No, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Like for me, it's like I respect it. I'm very
Oh, I'm not saying I can do it. I'm saying I'm trying. It's different.
trying. It's an experiment. Yeah. Like I said, if you're on everything by the time this airs, we know it failed. But I respect the willingness to say, you know what, you can come find me, right? I'm still in the mindset of like I'll just be everywhere and like I'll avoid the conversations where I can. Like I have my own political feelings in that, and they're but like that's for me to argue with my friends while I'm having a coffee, not online with everyone who's going to come at it with their own thing. And then you get the folks looking for the engagement. So they're just trying to rile you up because they know it's going to, you're going to reply and then they'll keep prodding you and just so they can get more followers or whatever. Like I don't like any of that. So I've been very, very liberal with my block button, very liberal with my mute and all that. And like, I'm very like focused on who I follow and what I bother with and all that. Like I try not to click certain things so that the algorithm doesn't decide that I'm interested in these conversations now because yeah, it's all exhausting. It's all exhausting. Everyone is right, no one is wrong somehow. Right? There's no nuance anymore. Like right, Roberto and I have had political conversations and like right, like even when we don't entirely agree about things, it's a cordial conversation. Right? Like we understand, okay, I understand where you're coming from. But online, you don't get that. It's just you're a loser. You don't get it, right?
And yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, I think Blue Sky kind of taught me how to use the block button because it's something that I didn't really use much. And just today, I mean, I'm still kind of on Facebook. If someone just starts going, I can't even remember what it was today. I don't know. It was not even political. It was some guy just, I don't know. I don't know what he wanted. I just blocked him. I was like, screw this. I'm not even going to engage with this. Yeah.
It's there's only so much bandwidth for everything in your day, right? So to stay on socials where people are being actively like vitriol, I'm sure if I chop this into a short, this conversation and post it, I'm gonna get some comments, and I will block those people. Because even for this podcast, they're trying to get out there. It's like those people are never going to be in your camp. They're just there to fight you, right? Like they're there for their own good, like their own whatever. they're getting out of it. I don't even know. Good's the wrong word. Where yeah, like the comics crowd. Like that's the thing. So Twitter used to be wonderful in that sense. Like it always had its trolls and whatever. Like that is the internet. You can't help it. It's going to be there. But I felt like the community that was on there, like the comics community was all very helpful. Everybody was out there like boosting each other up and there's still that to a degree, which is why I haven't left yet, but it's diminished. But I will say a lot of those people moved on to Blue Sky, which is wonderful. So I'm finding there's almost like a separation of where everyone went. So I found a lot of writers, like novel writers and prose, all went to Threads. I don't know why that's the platform of choice. And then all the comic creators went to Blue Sky. And then I still need to be on Twitter. Well, I follow my sports and things. The large media companies have refused to set up a new account on every platform. Rightfully so. They're trying. I guess they're waiting for the winner. Um, so to get my sports updates, I still gotta go on Twitter. But yeah, there seems to be now. It's like so split, where Twitter used to almost be like the town square, where you'd run into people and there was like room to like have relationships and meet people and all that stuff, and it's totally destroyed. Um, yeah, it's very upsetting. It was a good tool. I really enjoyed it, but here we are.
To challenge you on that you need Twitter to have your sports updates. You have news sites.
It's just there's nothing like a you know what it is. It's the live feed. It's the I'm watching. So Inter Milan's my football team. Barella goes down like he does every couple games, and he's holding his knee and screaming. And I want to know immediately because the announcers are telling me exactly what's going on. So you're getting an update from somebody who's on the sidelines saying, "Oh, they carried Barella off. He looks really bad." Right? It's the third screen experience or whatever that, and so that's the problem. Like Threads doesn't work for that because it's basically Instagram with words, right? So it's showing you what it feels like. It's showing you stuff from 3 days ago, which kind of misses the point, right? And then Blue Sky just doesn't have it doesn't have that critical mass, at least specifically for sports. Where so yeah, so they're still on Twitter. So if I want to know what's happening and I'm not seeing on screen, it's on Twitter and it's still on Twitter. Unfortunately, I just don't. Again, I block all the other stuff out. I'm only interested in and that's easy enough to do because you're following some hashtag of the, you know, of the game you're watching. So I'm just getting
Yeah, you can avoid everything else.
can avoid the rest of it, right? Like I'm hyper focused on that, and it still works really well for that because I know even Blue Sky and stuff has been wishy washy about whether hashtags do anything.
I don't know. Yeah, whenever I write something, I kind of just dump a ton of hashtags, whether that works or not.
Just it's right. So it's still not. Nobody's just taken what they've done and replicated it, right? They've all tried to put their own spin on it, and because of that, Twitter seems to persist because there's still things that it does better than anywhere else. So for me, it's like the live experience of things is still Twitter's this place, right? That's where everybody's having this experience together. We were talking the Oscars, right? Perfect example, right? Everybody, the Will Smith slap, you know, and when you watched it live, like you weren't sure, and then I don't know about where you were, but in Canada, it was silence because they blanked out him cussing at him. So it's like, what was he saying? It looks like he told him to f off.
Really?
Yeah, like we had no idea. So right on Twitter, like, what happened? It's like Will Smith just told Chris Rock to f off, right? So that experience hasn't been replicated anywhere, right? And it's unfortunate that everything else is still on Twitter, but yeah, that is the one good thing. So until somebody comes up with something that does that, I'm stuck on Twitter. you know and since I'm there, I'm going to sell some comics, or this podcast. I put the shorts on Twitter and all that, so this will be on there.
Definitely makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I only left really because I didn't have enough following to matter. No, it's really what it is, right? It didn't matter for me to leave Twitter the same way that it didn't matter for me to leave Instagram. Facebook it does, so it's harder. Amazon it does, although I mean I can tell you a story today. My laptop for some reason lost screws. I don't know how it happened, and it was whenever you open the the lids, it kind of just it opened the laptop. I thought it was broken. It was not. It was just out of place, and it just was missing screws. I was looking for screws all day, and I was like, I'm going to have to order this from Amazon. Uh, and I was really struggling with myself to not do that. Yeah,
It's if they weren't, it's so convenient. It's so convenient, and it comes with a cost, like a human cost, but it's so convenient.
the cost is a lot higher because we were talking the other day about shipping costs being ridiculous, from Canada to the UK. Um, Amazon has a lot to do with that, right? Because they get the best prices, right? If there's, you know, supply chain, they control a big part of it. If there's a container going from, crossing the Atlantic, a boat with containers crossing the Atlantic, a lot of the stuff there is from them. So they get the best prices. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm ready to let these big billionaires burn. I was not. I was not like that. I really wasn't.
It's tough, right? It's part of it's like too. It's like sand against the tide. It's like you could fight it, but it's just I think about it with my recycling bin here. So you're supposed to clean out the peanut butter jar as clean as possible before you put it in recycling, or it spoils the whole bin. But if my neighbor is throwing out a full peanut butter jar in their recycling bin, then they spoil mine because it's all going in the same truck. So why am I fighting so hard to try to do the right thing when the person next to me, right, is undoing all of my hard work? So it's a tough, like, it's almost like, where do you pick your battles that you're actually going to get impact, right? So yeah, like, yes, you had to get the laptop screws, but it's okay because they were delivering something to your neighbor anyway, you know?
I did not get it from Amazon actually.
Okay, in this case,
No, I didn't because I managed to find like a store from I don't know like I'm going to say Pakistani, but South Asian um, people that I just went there and I asked if they had screws. The guy just he just had like screws from old computers. He just fixed my computer, didn't charge a thing, just asked me for a review. That's it. It was awesome. It was awesome. Just
I think that's how you beat these things too, right? Like, it's the same, like, think so, to bring it back to like comics and stuff. Like, the thing that was great about Thought Bubble is getting to like meet these people. Like, if Batman was $15 an issue, I'm not buying Batman anymore, right? I buy it because it's relatively affordable and I enjoy the stories. But if it were the price of indie comics, I'm not doing it. However, I'm a super backer on Kickstarter. I go to TCAF, which is the Toronto version of Thought Bubble, effectively. And then I've been at Thought Bubble now. So, which is just indie creators. Like, even more so, the TCAF one is even more so. Like, it's just indie creators. Where I think Thought Bubble had Chip Zdarsky and stuff this year.
I mean, technically is an indie creator. Sometimes.
Yeah, at the time he was writing Batman, but but he was also doing public domain. He's got his ZCN. I'm gonna say it Canadian ZCN newsletter thing. Anyways, so he's doing indie stuff. So we'll count him. That's fine. But distillery, all that. But uh, but yeah, like, knowing that my dollar is going so much further, right? Helping this indie creator. Yes, it's $15, but it's because it costs them 14 to like print the book and all that, right? Like, I'm not getting hosed because they're trying to get rich off me. This is what it costs for them to make the book because they're doing it at such a small scale. So I know that my contribution is getting them closer to where they want to be, right? So I'm always a lot more generous with like indie folks than I would be with DC or Marvel or whatever, who has Warner Brothers and Disney and these multi-billion-dollar studios fronting them. Their small $1 million business they got or whatever, right? Um, so yeah, it's similar in that sense of like, going to that shop, getting, helping that person out with the screws and this and that, you feel better because it's like, yeah, like this is like I've seen this person. We have a quasi relationship now, um, having met that you're willing to go that extra mile. Where Amazon would be more convenient. You hit a button and it shows up at your door, sometimes in the same day if you're in a major metropolis, right? Like it's insane. It's absolutely convenient and all that, but it's sometimes it's nice to like help the person, even if it costs you a little bit more and takes a little bit more effort, right? It makes it a better thing. So I find with indie comics in particular, like yeah, I get more out of it personally, helping the indie person than just going to the LCS and getting my weekly pickups, which I still do. But you know what I mean. But again, I wouldn't do it at that price, uh, at the same indie price, because it's not helping in the same way. It's not, I'm not getting the same value out of it, even though arguably even the art and that might be better. Um, it doesn't matter, right? Like I'm getting more value out of helping an indie creator than I am, buying Batman from Chip Zdarsky. As much as I have and I enjoyed it and all that, but
which I did, but which I did. Is actually the only guy that I queued for at Thought Bubble. No one else. I was like, no, I'm not waiting for 1 hour to talk with someone. I did do that with him, and well, yeah. I mean, but I really like his stuff. So
I mean he's a lot of fun. I'm picking on him, but like just because he's the writer of Batman, but and he was at Thought Bubble, it worked out. But yeah, like again, and these creators are all people too, and all that, and like I'm not saying that you shouldn't support them. I'm just saying in terms of value for dollar, like an indie creator is getting a lot more out of that dollar than DC is, right? But there's nothing wrong with enjoying a good DC book, and really, the other side of that is if you only buy indie books, then we're all in trouble because the only reason that your local comic shop is still exists is because Batman sells the way it does, right?
I'm part of the problem. I almost only buy indie books. I am part of the problem.
So it's tough. I mean, again, it's and then we could talk about brick and mortar retail and all that business. There's all kinds of challenges, but yeah, like you always hear like, oh, boycott DC, boycott Marvel. It's like, if we all decided that DC and Marvel shouldn't exist anymore, then you can kiss your comic shops goodbye too, because nobody buys enough Image and Dark Horse and everything else to make it sustainable, right? It's the dorks like me buying Batman every month that keep it going, right? Um, it's just a critical mass thing. So
No, no, I was going to say I'm glad you do, so that I don't have to. Although someone got to do it. No, although I mean, I guess for me it's more because I did grow up more with Marvel, so that's kind of what was available. I didn't read much DC. Nowadays, I'm reading more DC because I want to get familiar with the characters, and I've been buying more Batman and stuff like that, and Superman, which I don't understand.
no,
I don't understand Superman. I really don't.
oh, I've been saying Batman over and over, but Superman's like my favorite, like by far.
I'm sorry. One of these days, you're going to have to explain it to me. What is the interest of the character?
There's so much. It's like he's like it's the
It's the humanity, right, of the character. That's the big thing. But
it's not just that. It's like an infallible good. It's like a imagine someone who just doesn't have a bad bone in their body, right? And it's they're all powerful as well. So it's like the fact it's almost like the Messiah thing that they do way too on the nose in the movies, right? But it's that idea. It's like this God amongst us, and they're just like infallibly good. That like just being in their orbit makes you a good person. And what do you do when you have all these people trying to do the opposite and trying to drag you down? Similar to the Batman thing, right? Where the Joker's always trying to make Batman kill, but that's very like black and white. Where Superman's like, no, like he always has an answer that isn't like he could end everything immediately. There's no fight that he can't win immediately unless you introduce the kryptonite or whatever. Sure, but like if when he's written well, you don't need kryptonite, right? You just give him a dilemma because he always wants to do the right thing in every case. When sometimes it's not so black and white what the right thing is. but to him, there, right, there's only the good way where everybody ends up on top kind of thing. So it's that challenge. So very few people nail it.
That's the thing. I mean, if I thought many times when I was still doing, movies, I thought many times if I had a chance to do a Superman movie, what would I do? And that's kind of what came to mind, is that that it's not about power, it's about those dilemmas. So I think I do get that. It's just that I don't find the story as interesting because there's really not an enemy that he can beat. I mean, there was Doomsday. That was my
That's the problem, right? That's the problem they always have in the films, is that, like, well, who's gonna beat him? And it's like, it's not about beating him, right? It's about making him question himself effectively. Like, the whole point of him being so powerful is that it takes that off the table, right? Like, it's not about him just punching people. Like, he's gonna win that way. So it's something else. They always go to a different level when it's done right. So, like, have you ever read Superman for All Seasons?
uh is that wait. No, oh, it's I'm confusing with All Star. Sorry.
Well, yes, All Star was excellent as well. Superman for All Seasons is my favorite. Is my favorite Superman story. I feel like you need to read that one because that gives you a good sense of, like, and it's done. Each season is done through perspective of a different character. So I find Superman's written the best when it's about Superman and not Superman himself. Although even then, a good writer can write Superman properly. But I find the stories that help people understand the character are the ones of people, like, from a different point of view, explaining what Superman does to them or how it changes their perspective. So Superman for All Seasons is like the all-time classic. Like, I bought the too far from it. I bought the, like, what do you call it, Absolute Edition, the, like, nice library copy, because it's like, I love that book. That's the, like, Superman book you need, right?
Who writes that?
That was Tim Sale and was it Jeff Loeb. I think it's Jeff Loeb. I can't remember. I might,
No. I'll look for it. Yeah, I'll look for it.
like, highly, if you're gonna, if you read that and you're not sold on Superman, then there's no hope for you. But but that's the, if you're gonna read a Superman comic, like, that's the one that's gonna get you. Um, that said, when I got into comics, it was Death of Superman. So it was exactly what you said. It was like this is Superman fighting, like, the immovable. It's the unstoppable force and the immovable object, the, like, Hulk Hogan Ultimate Warrior thing, right? It's just like neither of them can be stopped. So what happens, right? To the stalemate. Um, and then, just artistically speaking, that was an excellent book. But yeah,
Yeah, I joke that my favorite story about Superman is the story where he dies and where he's not there. Is like
that concept, right? The what is it? The, oh man, World Without Superman or whatever it's called. I can't remember. Whatever the epilogue of Death of Superman.
there was the return and there was the funeral for whatever, something like that, something like that. Yeah. So that I actually enjoy that, the whole thing, that he's gone, and how does the world you know move on without him. So it was an interesting concept, at least.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's so I think you'll like Superman for All Seasons as well. If you read Kingdom Come, Kingdom Come's a must read as well.
I did read, I think I have that, yeah. But I haven't read that much, to be honest. I mean, I think I read, that I'm checking what are the essential stories, and that's kind of what I've been. Yeah.
Well, this is the thing, right? Like, people are always like, "Oh my God, there's so many comics out there. How am I supposed to get caught up?" It's like, well, start with there's a collection of classics that everyone can point you to, right? And then you can read from there. And now that you have that, like, context, but the thing is, these characters change so much. Like, if you're reading Death of Superman, and then you go to the LCS and pick up whatever the latest copy is, it's a different Superman, right? Like, it's a totally different character. Well, not totally, but especially now that the people writing it grew up during Death of Superman, so they're kind of bringing it back to that kind of Superman. But nonetheless, um, nonetheless, it's a different world, right? So people just, I feel like a lot of folks are worried about the, like, scope of things. It's kind of what happened to the MCU, right? Where it's like, oh, I have to watch every single film to know what's going on. And though that's true for the MCU, The comics, you just jump in wherever, you'll figure it out.
Yeah, yeah. If you're trying to follow the whole thing, you're screwed. I did try that with Spider-Man. I started reading from the beginning. At some point, I was like, no, I can't. I'm
Pick a part that you like and then go from there. And Marvel's weird because Marvel's the one timeline, right? So arguably, if you want the entire story, you should read from 1967 or whatever when the Fantastic Four came,
61.
right? And you have to read all of those monthly books from then to now. But realistically, people are picking and choosing what matters and what doesn't, right? So, and since they're doing that, they'll probably fill you in when they say, I'm grabbing this piece and making it for lore for this story and not this piece, you know? Um, so,
You do have. I mean, it's kind of, shouldn't say this like so openly and publicly, but there's a lot of stinkers in between. You have even good runs have like one or two issues that are big stinkers, and it's like, yeah, you probably don't want to read the whole thing if there's like a collected version that has like the what you care about really.
exactly. Well, yeah, and keep in mind, like, much like the film thing, right? Where it's like we're getting all of it now, so we don't know what's good and bad yet. So you get the same thing with comics. Like, sometimes there's a filler issue because the artist needed time to catch up, right? So, like, yeah, it makes no sense when you're reading everything sequentially, but in context of the time when it happened, it makes some sense, right? And maybe, but again, that doesn't mean it's good. Maybe it doesn't work at all, but it did its job in not breaking your monthly run of picking up books, right? Which is really what they're concerned about, not so much telling a complete story. Because if that were the case, we wouldn't have floppies at all anymore, right? I think that whole market is, again, I'm there every week getting my books, but I'm part of the problem. Like, I think for comics to really do well, we have to start thinking, longer term and more value for money kind of thing, right? A 24 page uh, book that's worth whatever amount, 7, 8, 15 if you're talking indies, 20. Um, I feel like that's not long for this world. I still do it. People still buy it, which is why I do it. But if it were sustainable, I'd much rather just get like a graphic novel out and be like, here's 130 pages. You're going to get a full story, right? But there's a reason why you do it the other way because it would be literally impossible for me to pull off, right? Without doing a Kickstarter every issue.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, the first book that I started doing was an anthology with 90 something pages, and it's still unreleased
Yeah, yeah, it's tough.
because it's so big.
I'm speaking out of both sides of my mouth for sure, right? Because like I feel like the industry needs to go more in this like you know, uh, not literature way, but just like thinking about telling complete stories rather than doing everything serialized. And yet, I'm I'm like notoriously serializing things now. Again, we're talking April. I'm on the third issue from Parts Unknown. We're in January, so I'm doing off the top of my head. Um, so that's like my third campaign of the year. As I'm speaking right now, tomorrow's the last day of the first one, but yeah, like I'll be on my third by then if nothing goes wrong. So I'm part of the problem, but again, it's the only way it's ever going to happen either, right? So it's hard. It's hard to balance for sure,
It's the economics of the business. It's you really can't do it another way.
right? And unless there's a change from the ones who can afford to take the risk, it's never going to happen, right? Like until DC decides that they're, you know what, we're releasing Superman every 3 months, but you're going to get 120 pages, right? Until they start doing that, like we're going to be in this cycle forever. And again, there's probably a good reason why they don't do it. It's probably not. I think they've tried here and there, right? They tried with like year one and stuff, and it just didn't hit. So I don't know.
They're not because I mean, if you do the floppies, you sell the floppies, and then you do a collected version, and you sell the collected version. It's you sell it twice, and people will sell their floppies sometimes and keep the collected or
I think the risk is that a lot of books depend on the monthly sales. in order to decide if they're going to continue with the series. So like again, Batman's going to be fine. But like if it's some side character or whatever, even independent like Image and Boom and all these companies, right? Like if people aren't buying them weekly, it might never make it to a trade, right? And that's the problem. So we're depending on the serialized market to decide if we should get to these other books, right? Which is really where I feel like the market's going is towards these trades and stuff. Again, if they're more economical, because that's the other thing. You're competing with like manga and stuff on the shelf that's $10. Then you want to sell your book for 30 that has half the amount of pages, right? It's tough. But anyways, it always comics have been dying for 50 years, so I mean, I wouldn't jump ship yet, but yeah, it's always hard to think like how can we improve because it's never a straightforward easy answer, right? And getting into it relatively late in terms of like where we are in the apparently sinking ship. If it's a sinking ship, we got onto it as it was sinking, but it's been sinking for 50 years. So I think we still have time.
I mean, it's definitely enjoyable.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and this is the thing. Like, what are you trying to get out of it? If you're trying to, for anyone listening who thinks they're going to become rich writing comics, run the other way. Go do anything else. Um, go work at Starbucks. You'll make more money. But if you're trying to tell your stories and you're trying to like get something out there with your name on it, like, yeah, there's nothing else like it. Right. I write novels and stuff too, but the comics are like so much easier to put in someone's hand. Much like we were talking about, you know, getting folks to like analyze your work and all that. You give someone a comic, they can flip through it, they can get the gist of it, and appreciate your work. Give someone a novel, it's like, okay, I'll be back to you in 3 months, and then they put it on a shelf and they never read it. So it's you know, it has so much more reach, right? And it's still your vision. It's not a movie that's some mixed up weird version of that. So, anyways,
This is looking amazing.
yeah, it looks great. So, do we need any dialogue here?
I don't know. I feel like it might be more understandable if there's something, but I'm not entirely sure what we would put something here. Like,
I feel like okay, so hmm, like there's I feel like the first two panels kind of explain themselves, right? We definitely don't need anything there. We could have a in the third like a nice to meet you or something. If you like, I don't even think it's necessary to be honest. It just looks like he's saying something, but
can we? I don't know. Do you think that you can get that it's the brat? If you didn't know the prompt, would you say that it's the bad brat that looks like a dragon?
yeah, it's that or he's yelling at him, right? So that's why I feel like it needs a little bit of context. Or is it like a do we write it out like hello, but he drags out the H? It's like a hello. Hello. Really breathy to make that point. Um, oh goodness. Okay, bad news. I can't get the chat up, so I won't be able to type it. So Bruno, typing duties on you.
I don't know. So what would we do? Something like hello? Oh, I don't even know how to write hello. Something like this.
I can't see it, so I'm gonna have to trust you guys because my chat is trapped.
Okay. I mean, it's hello with like 10 O's.
I think that's right, right? Or do you want to go the other way with the H's? So it's like a well,
Because it's coming this way. Yeah, I guess that works. Should we make it like uppercase, all of them, or
oh, or I see Roberto's got an idea.
what is he? Oh, yeah, that works. That works really well. Nice.
Yeah. Does the O work though? Okay.
That works. Nice one.
Cool. There we go. We don't need to cover it with a balloon. I think the O is a little tough to read,
Maybe I'll do it smaller.
but I like the idea. I like the idea a lot.
Who'd like who do I sign it to, or something like that, or something like that. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, the like typical. And then
Do I write that, or
yeah, write that out just so you can do a copy paste. This makes this a little more streamlined.
is that, does that sound, I mean, it feels like too normal, but I guess.
I think that's what we want, right? Like he's still acting normal. Like he doesn't know what he's doing to this poor kid, right?
Who do I assign to? It's in the fourth panel.
One, two, three, four. Yes, yeah, the one where he's like cowering, and then the next panel while Roberto's doing that bubble, or balloon, is that one going to be like, no thanks or something like that? I'm okay, or no thanks, as he's running away.
Yeah, I mean, how about if it's something like, oh, you forgot one of your comics, or
Yes, yes. So he's got to, the guy signing has to say that. Be like, hey, where are you going? Or something like that, right? And then he's replying, or he's like, oh, I'm okay, or oh, no thanks, or something like that as he's running.
so what I put. So wait, you forgot.
Yeah, dialogue for the artist. Or I said artist. Maybe he's a writer. We don't know. Maybe he's an editor. We'll pick on them. It's the editor.
We'll leave it at the criteria of the reader.
Yeah. That's right. They can interpret who they think that is.
Bring your own experience into it.
Choose your own adventure.
Exactly. Who is the person you met who had the worst breath?
Yeah, that's them.
So wait, you forgot one of your comics, and what would he say? No thanks, or something more like, I don't know. Is there a funnier line that we could kind of,
Yeah, I don't know. Because I feel like you don't want to make him a villain saying something horrible, right?
not something horrible, but something funny in some way?
uh, that's a tough one.
Um,
Or do you say something like, I already got it signed, or something like that? Or that's okay, I signed it? I don't know.
it
Something unreasonable that like makes no sense.
was a present. No, that's bad.
Yeah, maybe like I'll sign it later or something. Like just something stupid that like he's just trying to get away, right? So he's just not even thinking of a good excuse.
I'll sign it later. Yeah, I mean,
It makes no sense, but that's why it's fun. Right? It's just him like he yeah. He doesn't even have a good excuse in his head.
sure. Yeah, I'll sign it later, and I'll leave like a.
Yeah, and then that last one, is it just like a does he do like a yeesh or something like that? Or is that enough? The image enough?
So I would say the next two would be on one, two, three, four, five.
Yeah, so it's the I can't see the chat box, but yeah, one should like the hey you forgot your whatever, I don't know exactly how you wrote it, is the guy at the table. And then yeah.
So you'd say, "Wait, you forgot one of your comics," and the other guy says, "I'll sign it later," or I don't know, something silly. That's, yeah, I don't know. It's, I feel like this would be a good place for some, trying to be nice but saying something like "Hoffel," but not being. I don't know. Yeah, I can't come up with anything. Yeah, it's fine.
I'm thinking of would be it would come off as mean. So I feel like it doesn't work, right? It's gonna be like a smell you later or something.
Or maybe in this panel, wait, this one? No, I'm not. Where is it? Maybe he says something like, "Wait, do you want me to sign it or not?" And he says like something like, "I see enough. I have seen enough signs."
Right? It's yeah, like huh.
I don't know. Yeah, I think that's fine.
I think we're on the right track. Like it's gotta be something that makes like yeah, he's like coming up with a bad excuse to run away, right?
Yeah.
Other than just like I changed my mind, which is what's really happening. What did he say? Who do I sign it to? And then maybe it's that. Maybe it's in reply to that.
I left. I don't know, something like, uh, oh, if he says something like, "Wait, you forgot one of your comics," and he says something like, "Oh, I don't know, I left the gas on," or I don't know, something like, "I smell gas. I left it. I think I left it on," or I don't know, something like.
Maybe it's a yeah. Who do I sign it for?
But I like where you were going about making some reference to a smell.
Yeah, like that. It's not, it's not aggressive. It doesn't sound like a dick, but it's some joke related with that.
I think I left the shower on or something. Uh, I need to go floss.
I forgot about my dentist appointment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works. Okay, cool. I like it. Yeah, okay. Okay. I think that works.
So the writer still says, "Wait, you forgot one of your comics, right?" And then he responds, "I forgot, a dentist appointment," or something like that. Is that it?
That or does he just say like, "Don't you want me to sign it" or something like that? Right? And then he's
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That works. Uh, and then on the last one,
yeah, the last panel, it could just be him doing like a yeesh or like a oh.
like a blah.
One of those noises that you make.
I'm really surprised with how much you got done in just 2 hours. I mean, you did a full page. It's amazing, and it's really high quality.
Yeah, Roberto, I don't know, man. Every time we do this, it's always like, oh man, how? It's impressive. It's impressive stuff. But yeah, I think you always say it's a little more low stakes, right? Because we're just kind of goofing.
Yes.
That certainly helps. I feel the same way about the I was telling you about those like writing battles and things. Um, you don't put it, you almost get your best writing out of it because you're not worried about it, right?
You're not trying. You're just, whatever comes out, you're just having fun.
Yeah, you're just letting it come to you, and like, yeah, you're trying to make it good, and you're trying to do it like, you know, you don't want all the feedback to be like, my goodness, like, did you just learn English? But you know,
It's okay to give up writing.
but like, yeah, like I don't know. There's something about letting loose, and you can try all you want to say like, I'm just gonna do this with abandon, but your subconscious knows that this matters, right? That you're preparing this for a pitch, or you're preparing it for something, for a Kickstarter, whatever, what have you, and it's like that pressure to, you can try to fool yourself, but you know deep down that this one matters, right?
And I think that when you do write something, and I can tell you that one of the things that I wrote, I don't think, I don't know, I kind of regret putting it out there. Yeah, 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 and yeah, it's one of those things that yeah, you really want it to be good, and I think that's the only way to do it. It's to really want to really do make sure that it's good. Yeah,
uh Alan, what noise do you want to go with? It's like a yeesh or a blech.
yeah, one of those. I mean, I think either conveys the idea.
Yeah,
I really like the guys that are down, and yeah, that's
it's a good touch that like these people have already been through it. Yeah, those people laying on the ground there, that was a good touch. That works.
and maybe in the balloon. Well, that's probably going too far, but instead of being like a normal balloon, have some like, I don't know, yeah, disgusted, something like a disgusted ID kind of tone, or yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
That's it.
Yeah, we've been very lucky with the folks we've had on. Everybody's had a very interesting take on everything. Like everybody's, I mean, I'm not saying anything new here. Everyone's different, but like, like you see it, you really see everybody's got kind of a. It makes you wonder how so much of the same stuff ends up in the world, given how different people think. You know, like, and yet we get so many of the same story over and over. But like, I don't know. We've had good luck on the show. Everybody kind of approaches everything very differently.
Yeah, I'm not going to give much of my opinion on that because I feel like I don't know. I do get the idea that a lot of I think people are chasing, what sells. And I noticed that when you look at Kickstarter, you see that a lot of projects have one thing in common. And I don't know. I can't criticize because I have some ideas like that as well. you know, which is, the things that people already know, basically. It's
I think the trick is you kind of like if you're going to do that. I speak of this like we both know that campaign I have going now. It's Naked Kaiju Woman, and it's going now. Again, we're in April, so it's long since done, and it's been going very well. But it was done with that in mind. Like I keep saying, like this project was built for Kickstarter. It was me. I had a again. It wasn't me saying like how can I cash in, but it was I had this weird idea, right? Like watching She Hulk or whatever, and I'm like, oh, like they're never gonna solve this clothing problem, and it spawned from that. It was a dumb, middle of the night thought, right? And then the artist Raphael wanted to draw some kaiju, and he's excellent drawing women. So it just worked out perfectly, and then I went from there, and then it just became like a satire of like those kind of comics on Kickstarter, right? But it's that. It's like I can't just do like a nudie comic. Like it has to have some silly nature to it and some satire and you know what I mean? Like that's just so it's me bringing my view on the trend, right? If I but to your point, yeah, like if I were just straight up chasing trends, I would have 50 covers, right, of various graphic acts happening, right? And instead, I went with a couple artists that I really like, and one of them has her punching a dinosaur in the face, and I went the way that I would appreciate rather than.
yeah, it's very it reminds it has the something like the what's it called, the crazy lot.
Oh yes, thank you. Yes, the crazy latte and cold love. Yes,
Yeah, it has like that went in a direction that I was not expecting at all. It's like, okay, yeah, it's like that.
I did it right. Thank you.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, to that point of doing the I started realizing that honestly, I'm trying to do original projects, but at some point you realize, okay, this is not what sells in Kickstarter, and you actually need to have some of those projects that I don't know help build that audience, and maybe then you can do the original ones. So yeah, I kind of started writing that because it is what you have to do.
Think as long as again you're not just doing it just for the sake of selling out, like you're bringing yourself to it and saying this is my interpretation of this trend, then I think you'll have something worthwhile, right? It's the folks that are just doing it like you know what I want to make some money, and if you're doing that, go do something else because there's better ways to make money, right? Like there's much easier ways to make money, unless you really enjoy having a picture of a girl in 10 different colors, like right, if that's in your heart of hearts what you want to sell, then fine, but I doubt it. All right, but if you're bringing yourself to the trend, I think it shines through, at least I hope it does. But yeah, so far I have some evidence of that with this last project, so I'm happy. I was really worried it was like people are going to read through it and be like, you don't actually want to write nudie comics. It's like, I want to write my comics that happen to have some nudity in them, right? So I'm glad people seem to appreciate that more so than just the fact that it's a naked lady.
No, it's doing really well. Yeah, well done.
Yeah, I don't know. It's I'm happy. I'm very happy. But anyways, enough about me. So we're done the comic. Um, the last piece is we sign it, and by we I mean Mr. Roberto signs it. because he is the one with the page in front of him. But yeah, yeah. So this turned out really good. It is what it is. 1:15 where you're at, or no, 12:15. 1:15.
Where I am, 1:15.
1:15. My goodness, we are keeping you up stupid late. So we're gonna let Roberto sign this, and then we will sign off. But while he's doing that, I'll actually start with you. So if there's anything that you want to say, now's the time. The floor is yours.
Sure. I mean, I actually have a Kickstarter right now at the point we are recording. Obviously, it won't be on by the time it will come out, but as I was telling you earlier, I do have in mind to launch probably 6 projects this year. So by the time that this comes out, there will likely be a project. So if you search for me on Kickstarter, and I guess it's Red Wolf Comics with a U, so not Red Wolf, Red Wolf, and I lost my window. Uh, if you search for that on Kickstarter, you will find me. Follow me there to get my projects, and I'll probably have one by May. Is it? So a lot to come. There's the sci-fi anthology that I told you about. A couple of stories are free if you sign up to my newsletter. You'll get them digital for free. So yeah, just best way. Follow me on Blue Sky. Let me check for sure what it is. It's Bruno Catarino dot Blue Sky, the whole thing. So yeah, that is the best way to find me, and I post there about the comics, the Kickstarters. Check my website, the store. I think I have that in my. But yeah, that's it. Search for me, and that yeah, I'll have something by the time this comes out, probably.
Yeah, you're easy enough to find. It's Bruno Catarino somewhere. It's either on Blue Sky or your website or on Kickstarter. Yeah, you pop that in the search, they will find you. So Red Wolf Comics, I think, with a U also is what you mentioned. So as long as they're looking for you, they will find you. Bruno Catarino. We will put it on the website, which is Instant Ink podcast.xyz. So there will be links there too. But before I get into that spiel, Roberto, let them know what you're up to.
Right now, I'm completing the fulfillment of Voyager 3. I'm gonna start with the new project, and you can subscribe to my newsletter by going to my webpage. That it's robertoviacavaillustration.com and find out more.
Amazing. Right on. And then, so I'm going to speak for myself right now. Pestocomics.com or at Pesto Comics. I have something coming out. If I don't have an active campaign, within 3 weeks, I have one. This year, I'm going absolutely off the wall with the amount of things I am launching. Um, it's been a long time coming. I have a lot of books that are in various progress and various states of ready to go. The big one this year is from Parts Unknown. So issues 2, 3, 4, and 5 are all coming out this year. We'll have the first arc done by mid-summer. Right. So one of those is certainly on Kickstarter or in pre-launch on Kickstarter. So check that out. Also got some novels and things coming out on Kindle Unlimited. I know we're anti-Amazon here, but hey, they're the ones that pay right now. So so still doing that. But the easiest way to find all of it, pestocomics.com. I'll point you to where everything matters, and you can go from there. But more importantly, if you want to really get a good look at this page, you're looking at it on YouTube on a tiny screen or worse, on Instagram on a tiny screen. You can go to instantinkpodcast.xyz and see the whole page and get a real taste of it. Plus, you'll get all of Bruno's links, so you can go to all of his stuff and see what he's got live. So, instantinkpodcast.xyz. And with that, we're done. We got a page done. It's beautiful. Bruno, absolutely wonderful talking to you. You're really you not only were you great to talk to, you're a very good listener as I rambled on about all kinds of things.
You made it a lot easier for me because yeah.
You mentioned it. It's like, hey, it's late. Like, don't worry, I'm a motor mouth. I can fill any silence. So that's it. Still great to talk to. You always had something interesting to add to the conversation. So Really did appreciate it. We got a wonderful piece of art done, and yeah, another episode down. Great stuff. Hopefully, we'll have you back one day in the future. But until then, thank you very much for coming, and to everyone watching, thanks. We'll see you next week. Thanks, everybody.
See you. It was really fun. Thank you for coming.
Thank you guys. Thanks for having me. Had a lot of fun. Bye.